Hi. So I have one question for all of you. If there was one character from anything you worked on that you had to draw for the rest of your life, no other choice, who would it be and why? I know, hard decision.
Starscream.
I mean, yeah, Bumblebee, but I think everyone knew that one. Specifically, that would go to your specifically animated Bumblebee if I could.
That's a good choice, though.
It'd be Jazz for me.
Star Drive.
I'm going to be the real out there guy and say Optimus Prime.
Thank you.
Yeah. Never heard of him.
And that person kind of took the question I was going to ask. That's okay. Really quick, just wanted to say I'm a huge fan of the Wreckers trilogy and More Than Meets the Eye. But I guess a backup question I had for Milne that's just a little silly is when you were designing the human versions of like the More Than Meets the Eye characters for that one comic, was there any significance for Rung holding that that book with like the Autobot symbol on it, or was that just like a little feature that you added to it?
I always thought like, Rung supposed to be like intellectual and everything, so I just wanted him to be like, his avatar to be like a bookworm
Yeah.
kind of thing to add to that intellectual aesthetic. But
Okay.
there was nothing like overly significant about it. Could be his like diary or something.
Yeah.
He's making a naughty list of the people on Lost Lake.
Thank you very much, guys.
Thank you.
Look at this man's hat.
It's not Yoda. Just saying. First of all, I don't know whether it's you rock, and I'm just really like, whenever I see women doing great things and stepping out of traditional boxes and making a big name for yourself, I just want to give you this. Don't mind the grays. It's going to come. It's going to be there. It's going to be what it is. So the difficulty that you guys do such a great job at is tricking us folks that read comic books that these things are moving, changing, and then going back again. How difficult is that as you've grown as artists to actually give the illusion? Because we watch cartoons, we see the same, and then they come back and stuff, and these are still pages that you're making as we're reading and we're looking at it. It's doing the same thing in our heads, but they're not actually doing things at all. It's just there. So how difficult was it for you guys growing into these artists to make the illusion just as real as what we'll see in animation, movies, etc.? If that's a dumb question, I'm sorry.
No, it's a great question. I mean, I would say I think a lot of it is, we're also familiar with Transformers from so many different like forms of media, and I think a lot of it is one of those things where your brain fills in the blanks. Like if you look at an animation, it's pictures, picture, 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 gone fast enough that it looks like it's moving. So we just skip a lot of the in-between pictures.
Yeah.
It's like you see one mode, you see maybe a mid thing, and then you see the bot mode and your brain fills in the rest.
Mm-hmm.
But I think also like when you have the toys, right? We're used to seeing the instruction sheets too. So for some of us, we can be like, all right, I remember like with Jazz, like a midpoint in the instructions of transforming him. So try and emulate that in the drawing, and you've done it so long also that it just becomes natural.
Yeah, I did 3 years in animation, like traditional animation, college. So, I learned a lot about the importance of camera movements, storyboarding, and how the panels need to flow, and the storyboard for the animators to know what to do. So I just skip the animation part, and I just focus on storyboarding and making it make sense, as if I was doing an animated show. So that's how I've been approaching it.
Cool beans. You guys rock. Thank you.
You rock.
Hello. The first thing I wanted to say, just because it was mentioned like twice already, was love Rom versus Transformers. Probably one of like my favorite things visually in like Transformers comics. Just great stuff. My question was like, this is probably like a common question, but you know, everyone loves common questions. Like, what's a like Transformers moment either in, you know, like stuff you've consumed or things you've worked on that really you think like stuck with you in how you create your own work?
I don't know. I think a big one for me was like when Transformers Animated came out. We were right in the middle of like the movies coming out, and that was very like realistic and and super complicated and all this kind of stuff. And then Transformers Animated came out, and it was like the exact opposite of all that. And I think for me, I mean, I grew up like really admiring like Jeff Senior's work in the Marvel comics, and his stuff was like super expressive and kind of minimalistic in a lot of ways. But seeing like Transformers Animated come out and just like really stand out amongst all the Bayverse stuff, it just really showed that Transformers can be more than
meets the eye.
No, I was trying not to. No, I was just gonna say like that, like they can be more than just like the rigid, boxy, kind of stiff stuff that we may be seeing. I mean, even the movieverse, like I applaud those in as well, even though people have opinions about them. Like the designs that they did and came out with, as horrible as some of them might be, or terrible as some might be to draw, like they really did push like Transformer design in a lot of new directions, multi-limbed stuff, and you know, leaning into like more organic kind of insectoid almost kind of stuff. And so yeah, it just really, I think for both of them, just like Beast Wars, like they showed that Transformers could be more than what we've seen them. And yeah, so that was big for me, and really kind of gave me permission to really kind of push stuff more into stylistic directions, which is kind of why I was like, all right, when they asked me to draw Beast Wars, I was like, do I have to follow any designs? Do I have to draw it a certain way? And there's like, no. And I was like, cool, then I'm just going to draw them how I want to. And there was it was liberating, and I think it wouldn't have been that way if series like Animated or even the movies hadn't come before that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's pretty much it, yeah.
I mean, I'll say for me, I didn't know if anybody wanted to go.
Nice.
It started way back with the early Marvel comic. Like, I don't know how many of you folks read the Marvel comic, but like for the first, 50, 60 issues or something, it was basically just the old toy commercial, you know, here's some new characters, make a story for them. Oh, more new characters. Oh, now we have Pretenders. And then in like, was it 1990 or whatever, when they just canceled the toys, or you know, it kind of went from being a toy commercial, and then it got freaking wild. Yeah. You know, you had the Ratchet and Megatron fusion, you had all the stuff with Thunderwing and the Matrix, and I mean, it just got so crazy. And that was like, I was only like probably 8 or 9 years old at that point. And, but something clicked in my head, like, okay, this is more than just like neat stuff featuring my toys. It was like, this is awesome, and I would love to do this at some point. So that's what first inspired me to want to create stuff like that.
I'd say for me it was watching the '86 movie, because that, like, I still remember watching it, being blown away. But also, like, you watch the cartoon, you don't get that much of an emotional attachment. Here's the time you see Optimus Prime die, and then, like, I'm broken.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm not recovering from that. And it's like, it's stuck with me my whole life. But just seeing how that movie like changed the game, and also like how the colors popped, the more detailed backgrounds and everything, pushed me into a love of also of different Japanese animation and everything, and that just helped me create like how I do things now. So I guess it'll always go back to the '86 movie.
Thank you very much. Also, I just think it's funny, I somehow ended up getting the last Overlord print and the last Barbie Starscream print on the same day. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.